Hey guys, it's another round of UFC predictions here. Pat Cwiklinski, Pete Amato here for SBD. We're talking UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi this Saturday, headlined by a huge heavyweight main event. Tom Aspinall, the champ, taking on Ciryl Gane. Obviously, they're in the main event. It's a big time fight. It's got a big time fight feel. Aspinall, a huge heavyweight getting lots of hype these days, the champ for good reason. And we're going to be breaking down who our pick for that main event is. Pete, I want to start with you. This is a huge fight. This is one that fans have been waiting for. In a relatively thinner kind of heavyweight division now in the UFC, a lot of people have criticized that fact as of late, that there isn't as much competition as there once was, as much elite competition in the heavyweight division. With John Jones kind of sitting on the sidelines a little bit, everyone obviously wants to see the Aspinall Jones fight
Yep.
surface at some point in time, right? But the next best option I think is Ciryl Gane, and it's a good litmus test I think for Tom Aspinall, how he can do against a guy that John Jones submitted, a guy that John Jones finished, obviously,
Yep.
but also a guy who has elite striking and a guy who is known for his durability overall. He fought Francis Ngannou, lost that fight, but didn't get finished by arguably, one of the scariest finishers, if not the scariest finishers in MMA. So, I'm curious to know sort of your thoughts on that fight and kind of how you're leaning.
Yeah, I think me, like most people, I'm leaning Aspinall. I know we all want to see the Aspinall Jones fight, but Jones is ducking and hiding. So, but next best thing, like you said, Aspinall versus Gane. I think Aspinall takes this fight. It's just whether or not how he wins. I do like by TKO. He tends to finish all his KOs in first round. So TKO is my pick for him. It's around -110 right now. But I also can see him winning by submission. Because and that's at last time I checked it. I think I checked it at Hard Rock. It was +300 by submission, which is pretty good odds for a guy with a great ground game. And I think this fight might look a lot like Gaines lost to John Jones. Once it hits the mat, I think Aspinall's ground game is going to take over. For a heavyweight, Aspinall's elite speed, his first step explosiveness is what gets him the KO. And I think his quick right hand is going to be tough for Gane to read and react. Gane has power, but it's predictable. It's predictable power. And I think Aspinall is just too quick and too smart for that. And I just think Aspinall is the more complete fighter by far. He's better grappling, faster hands, higher fight IQ, and Gane's biggest weakness, grappling, is Tom's biggest strength. So I can definitely see this fight going to the ground and getting submission, but I think Aspinall's going to try to keep it standing as long as he could. I think he's going to take him down a few times, which I liked the one bet. Aspinall takedowns over 1.5 is at +125. I like that because Gane hasn't really worked on his takedown defense. You've seen his last couple of fights. He just doesn't seem. He just is just relied on his hands. He's not really didn't seem worried about takedown defense against Jones. So we'll see what happens. And I also like the round finishes by Aspinall. He's a round one finisher. That's what he tends to do. And round one is at +195 right now, and that's by finish, TKO, or submission. And if you think it's going to last a little bit, round two is at +300. So some pretty good odds there. I just think Aspinall is just too dominant, too better of an all-around fighter. Gane might get that lucky one punch knockout, but I think this Aspinall is too smart. He's too tough, and I just think he's going to win this fight
Yeah, I
easily.
love that, and honestly, I love the submission pick. That's kind of where I'm leaning, and it's one that I think a lot of people, might be sleeping on a little bit, given Aspinall's recent history of KOs and TKOs. He has submitted a couple guys in the UFC. Alexander Volkov, Andrei Arlovsky, kind of earlier in his UFC tenure.
Yeah.
And he has looked good on the ground. He has that part of his game that he can go to. I think we just don't see it a lot because of how dominant he is on the feet as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is
He's
the
very
thing.
dominant on the ground. That's people know him like yourself. He's very dominant on the ground, but we don't have to ever say it because
Yeah,
he's you know what I mean?
it's just steamrolling guys for sure. And
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
that's the thing that's going to be interesting in this fight. And both guys, let's not forget, have had pretty significant layoffs. Gane hasn't fought since December 2024. Aspinall hasn't fought since, I believe, July 2024. So you're talking about a significant period of time that they've been kind of inactive from competition, at least. And I think what's going to happen is there's going to be probably a bit of a feeling out process, maybe early on. And I do think that Aspinall, being the smart, high IQ kind of fighter that he is, I think he is going to respect Gane's striking. I don't think
Hmm.
he's going to barge in. Sometimes maybe maybe barge in isn't the right word, but he kind of
Yeah.
blitzes guys, a lot of
Yeah.
time. And I don't think he's going to do that same thing with Ciryl Gane, maybe off the rip. If he sees a chink in the armor, obviously he's going
Yeah.
to go for that. But I do think that chink in the armor is going to come potentially on the ground. He'll get into a situation where I think he gets him on the ground, kind of like you were mentioning, and I think he gets it done there. And that's where Ciryl Gane ran into problems, like you said, with John Jones.
Hmm.
And he has not been finished on the feet as of yet.
It's
I
true.
personally see that kind of trend continuing for Gon. I don't know if he's going to get finished with a KO or TKO, but I do see him having some problems once the fight ends up going to the ground, and Aspinall asserts kind of his dominance there as well. So really
Yeah.
interesting fight for that reason.
Yeah, I think and Aspinall is known to go in and try to finish early, but if it goes past the second round or first round, Aspinall's conditioning and tempo is another thing that will separate him. The longer it goes, the more likely Gane slows down and Aspinall lands that clean right hand or lands that thing. So I do think if he gets the KO, it's going to be in the second, maybe third round as Gane's kind of losing his conditioning a little bit. It might be a TKO ground and pound type situation. Gane's a tough guy. He hasn't got knocked out, but I can definitely see maybe as it goes second, third round, Aspinall being able to take the takedown easy or trying to get him on the ground easy and either submitting him or ground and pound him.
Totally. Yeah, and I mean you're talking about a guy in Aspinall 100% finishing rate. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is that is impressive. He goes in, he finishes fights. That's what he does,
yeah.
whether it's KO, TKO, submission, he goes in there and gets guys out of there. I do see that being the case again in this fight. I just think it'll be a slightly different route than we've seen maybe as of late in terms of the KO or TKO. I do think Aspinall's going to show us his kind of range of skills and look, it's a good it's a good setup for a potential John Jones fight if
Yeah.
we get it at some point in time. If he can get through Gone and get this win. Obviously, the fight that we're all kind of waiting for
The
is
White
that
House
Jones.
fight.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it sets up perfectly. It gives him a
it
nice
does.
little, like about a year to train for a big
Yep,
fight. I
yep.
mean, it's, I
That's
mean,
right.
maybe that's what he was thinking. I don't know, but
Right.
he he he,
Maybe that
he
White House card, you got a little US UK flair. Who knows?
yeah, yeah.
you know,
It
I love
it
that.
would be fun to watch. I mean, he asked for a ton of money. They they called his bluff. They gave him a ton of money, and he still turned it down, which is very surprising to me.
Totally.
But we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, absolutely. Things can change in a hurry, as you know, in the world of MMA. Guys, make sure you guys tune into this one on Saturday. Earlier start time, just keep that in mind. UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi. It'll be 2 p.m. in the East for the
Yep.
main card, and that's 11 a.m. for Pacific timers like myself. Make sure you guys tune in, follow all the coverage on sportsbettingdime.com, and follow us on X at SBD as well. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the fights.
Yeah. Good luck.